Well, hey, good afternoon, everybody. Pastor Chris coming to you live from the office at Full Gospel Temple. And this post is for my colleagues, pastors, those that are leading churches and everything that has been going on. And this is just a disclaimer. This isn't me looking for love. I get enough of it. I've just started ministry here in Wyerton, and the Sunday that I started officially was the Sunday before the state of emergency was declared for the province of Ontario, and this whole COVID-19 situation that we've all been going through. And I just wanted to just talk to church members and encourage you to love your pastors. I can only share from my personal experience so far that it's not been easy for pastors to navigate this season, and it's been very frustrating and very difficult in many ways. I just finished getting our sanctuary ready for our reopening post-COVID, and it's taken me quite some time. And I know other pastors are in the middle of figuring out how they're going to reopen and how they're going to comply with provincial guidelines and how they're going to comply with local health unit guidelines. And our church has decided we're going to comply with provincial and health unit guidelines, and there's some things that are changing all of the time, and that's been frustrating because one week there is it seems one thing is said, and the next week another thing is said. And as I mentioned to a friend of mine yesterday, sometimes some of the guidelines that are put out create more questions than they do answers. And I want to let you know something, that the pastors of your church are working incredibly hard. And they are trying to navigate and figure out what is best for the church, what is best for everybody. And I know from talking to several colleagues that the closing of churches in order to comply with provincial guidelines has absolutely frustrated and been difficult for pastors. Frustrating in the sense that we can't be together. If you have a good pastor, he wants to see you on a week-to-week basis, and not on Zoom, not online, not in a chat comment from a video that you're watching live if your pastor streamed the services. And it's been hard. It's been hard to be separate. And the pull for us to open so that we can be together has to be balanced with the guidelines that are coming from our province, and it's all been very difficult. And I don't have a script here. I'm just sharing my heart that you need to love your pastors. I know for me, the first week that we went online, the Sunday, March 15th, was my official start as the pastor of Full Gospel Temple here in Wyerton. State of emergency was declared on Tuesday, and I had to scramble to figure out how to live stream our service. I've done some uploading before, but I've never live streamed before. And I know personally, I'm pretty good technically with computers and programs and everything else like that. And that first week, aside from preparing my Sunday message and all the regular work that goes into preparing for that, I spent easily 25 to 35 hours just learning how to stream, setting up the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, the learning how to use the OBS software that we use to stream. I mean, it was taxing, and I'm technically pretty proficient guy. I can't imagine some of the pastors who aren't as technically smart, that don't necessarily like computers and whatnot, how they tried to figure it out. And some churches were already streaming live services, and they were excellent. And my first service was streamed on my Lazy Boy chair, and it, was horrible in a technical sense. Every time I moved or shifted in my chair, the camera shifted. I mean, it's been difficult. And your pastors have been working really, really hard at everything that has been happening. And we are struggling to do everything correct, do everything right, do everything safely, to make everybody feel safe, secure, and happy. And that's impossible to make everyone feel that way. And, I just talked to another pastor friend of mine. They had a reopen plan, and their province in New Brunswick just opened it up. You can fit as many as you can in your sanctuary, physically distanced, and it's open to anyone that can come in that regard. And it just changed. It just changed, and now he had like a several week strategy of phasing reopening, and now he's been told you can fully reopen just physically distance. And so I'm sure there's going to be pressure on him now to slow down or to speed up the reopening plan. And I talked to another colleague as we've been going, and the first Sunday back was this Sunday for the province of Ontario. And it's different. I mean, I just finished our sanctuary. There's arrows. The chairs are spaced apart. You got to walk in certain directions, and just like you do at the grocery store. It's just been incredibly challenging. I've spent 3.5 hours today just setting up my sanctuary. And last week I spent probably another 4 or 5 hours just moving chairs around and trying to figure out how to get things ready. Your pastors are working incredibly hard. And I'm not looking for love, but I had a colleague of mine had complaints about the way that the things were arranged on Sunday, and why can't we do this or why can't we do that? And you know what pastors don't need at this time is people putting pressure on them to do things in a way that they would want, and putting pressure on them to, with complaining. You know what? If you are allowed to go to church this Sunday, just go in and be thankful that you can be there, and thank your pastor for how hard he has been working over this past little while, because your pastor has, and he's I've been personally frustrated with not being able to see people. I had someone ask me, how's the church going? I don't know. I mean, I'm doing an online service and we're getting some people watching it, but beyond that, I really don't know. I don't know how a lot of the people are doing, except for some email communications and some phone calls. Like, it's been hard. It's been hard on all of us. It's been especially taxing on your pastor. So love your pastor. Encourage your pastor. Support your pastor. And with respect to the provincial guidelines and coming back safely, and all of the things that have been going on with respect to that, and dealing with all of the questions that COVID-19 has created, here's just another suggestion. When it comes to reopening, when it comes to what to do and how to do it, your pastor is thinking that through. He's thinking that through with his leadership team. Leave it up to them to figure that out. And if they have questions that they want answered, let them reach out to you. Because the last thing they need is, if someone comes in this Sunday to our church and says, well, you should have sat the chairs this way or that way, I'd say, great, next Sunday you can set up the chairs for next Sunday. Because I've taken the time to do it. And I'm not saying that to be mean-spirited. I'm just saying that your pastors are working incredibly hard, and they need your love and they need your support, and they have a leadership team that is there to guide them and help them. And I'm just saying, when you get back to church this Sunday, or even if you're not going back to church this Sunday, because there's still other churches that aren't going back as of yet. They're still waiting on the right time, and the pastor and the leadership team of the church, the board of the church, the elders of the church, they are praying about how and when to start things up at a time that's right for them, right for the church, and just leave that to them. And support them. Send your pastor a text or an email today and just say, I love you, thank you for all that you have been doing. And anyway, there's just been so much going on, and I just wanted to throw that out there. I should have wrote a script because I could have said more. And again, I'm not looking for love here, but I just want to give a shout out to some friends of mine that I know have been working incredibly hard. Jason Gilbert, one of my best friends. Buddy, I know how difficult this has been for you. Keep going, man. You're doing an absolutely amazing job leading your church. Your Bible studies have been awesome. The worship leading that you've done has been great. The services have been awesome. You've been doing an amazing job. Troy Matchett, oh my goodness, great job in New Brunswick. And he's actually the one that had all of a sudden the government say, hey, you can just go full throttle now. And he had a multi-week plan. Troy, just keep doing what you're doing, man. I love you. I think you're amazing. I think you're doing an awesome job. I've loved tuning in to your services. Mark Sneath, man, 10 a.m. he starts their service, and right before I start streaming online, I watch his service, and God has used you, Mark, to speak to me and to encourage me, and to the pastors on the Facebook group for the Pentecostal Assemblies of Canada. We've been turning there with all kinds of questions and whatnot. Dale Sanger, thank you for kind of administrating that page and navigating all of the things that come up with that, and for providing leadership for that. To David Baker, my section pastor in the Owen Sound section of the PAOC. David, you are a phenomenal leader. I'm so thankful to God for your leadership and for providing leadership for our section, and for opening your church when other churches were trying to figure out how to get connected online. You offered your facility for pastors to go in and do their services there because you have a good connection there. I mean, the ministerials that you have had, and the information that you have been bringing, and the ministerial that we had this yesterday, just discussing the guidelines that literally just came out, I think, on Wednesday of this week. Leading up to Sunday, which has changed the way that some of us are planning our reopening and whatnot. David, you're providing amazing leadership, and Southport, you need to know he is working his butt off, and you need to just love on him. Love on all your pastors. I think of my friend Brad up in Tobermory and Mike up in Tobermory. You guys have been doing your services, and Brad, you're not so technical, but I've watched some of your services, and you're doing a great job. You're authentic, you're genuine. Thank you for that. And Mike, you reopened this Sunday, and the challenge here's the challenge that we had, and I address it in my welcome back video. There were no guidelines for singing, congregational singing. In the middle of this week, we've been told that we can't sing. That doesn't mean we can't worship. A worship team can lead in worship, and the congregation just can't sing. Can't sing really loud, but you can breath the worship. You can worship the Lord and just quietly sing, Lord, I give you my heart. Lord, I give you my soul. Whatever song is being sung, we don't have to sing out loud to worship the Lord. But it's posed a challenge because singing one Sunday, and now this Sunday we're told no singing except for the worship team that's providing the music. And so these are very challenging times, and you're all doing such an amazing job. I just want to put that out there. If you are in a congregation and I'm not your pastor, share the video and just tag your pastor in that, and just say thank you for everything that you're doing, because you need to know they're working incredibly hard. And aside from the just preparing each service and trying to find creative ways to do an online service and prepare for their messages, aside from all of that, it's just been emotionally taxing on pastors this season, because we care for the people, we love the people, and not being able to visit and pray with and all of that, along with the other guidelines of we've been as isolated as you have at home, not being able to see our families as we would want to. Just please, I've been talking now for 16 minutes. I'm going to stop talking now. Just, you get my drift. Love your pastor. Bless your pastor. And I'm thankful for all of my friends and colleagues in ministry who are working very hard. I could name many more. And thank you for all that you're doing. This Sunday we're back in church, and I know many of you are starting to roll back your services this Sunday. Have a great Sunday this Sunday. And those of you that are going to church, love your pastor, bless him, thank him. And this is just from a pastor's heart for others in the same boat as me. So God bless you, and we'll see you Sunday.